A Florida landlord who was the victim of a squatter who trashed her property and cost her thousands of dollars is now launching a website so that she can warn other landlords about the problems with squatting and hopefully come up with a solution. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting update to an article I did a short while ago about a Florida landlord who had to deal with these horrible squatters. Okay. Now, obviously, squatters are a problem throughout the entire country, but man, you know what? Sometimes it's just like the police, they don't help you, the local government doesn't help you, and you feel like your hands are just tied. And so this landlord in the story that I covered before, she decided, hey, I'm going to try to help other landlords who are dealing with this problem. So if you don't remember the story, I actually have a short video that I'm going to play right now so that you can get a little bit of a recall of what this whole thing is about.
As I was walking around to the front of the house to wait for the police, I think the tenants must have heard my voice, the squatters rather, must have heard my voice, and they came out. And it was two young women who told me that they had a lease to live there. And very quickly, she pulled up the lease on her phone, shows it to me. It was unsigned as I could see it, and it was issued by a person whom I didn't know. And so I told her, I said, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but this house is not for rent. This person has no affiliation with me or my business partner, the owner of the home. And I'm really sorry. I think you must have been scammed. And she told me then and showed me a receipt that they had paid $3,100 in first month rent, pet fee, and a deposit. And then she indicated that it was for rent on Zillow. Well, I own the listing on Zillow. And so I knew that it was listed for sale. And had anything been altered on that, you'll get an email from Zillow saying that your listing's been altered. I had not received anything like that. I then looked it up on Zillow and it was not for rent.
All right, you saw the video, and the story. It's crazy, okay? And the video didn't even cover the entirety of the story. The landlord was able to get the tenant out of there eventually, but she had to go through the eviction process, and the tenant trashed the place, okay? Completely ripped it apart. And I put pictures up before. I'll put them up again just to show you some of the damage that this tenant did to her property, right? And man, I mean, after getting burned like that, the only thing I could say is, man, I don't blame this landlord for wanting to start this sort of website and trying to, come up with a solution to the whole squatter issue. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think, okay? So what do you think of a website where landlords can share solutions to the whole squatter issue? Like I had asked before, what are things that you would do, that you would do or have done in the past to help, get rid of squatters or make sure the squatters don't become a problem? But I imagine this website, it'll have a lot of these solutions written into it. Obviously, laws are different from state to state, and squatters have more rights depending on where you're at. Usually in the more liberal places, it's the worst, okay? So you go to California, squatters have unbelievable amount of rights. They act like, a squatter, like they own the place even though they just walked in. So it's a complete joke. Meanwhile, in other states, you might be able to get the police to come over and immediately remove the person. So, it totally depends, but it would be great to have a place where you could share that sort of knowledge so that landlords, they don't feel like their hands are tied. So anyway, let's get into this article. This article is coming from foxnews.com, and it says, Florida squatter victim launching website to assist other landlords with illegal occupants. Squatter victim announces Push Out Squatters website. Kind of like that name, Push Out Squatters. I like to more like push out trespassers, but they consider them not always trespassing. But anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says. Florida Landlord is launching a website to assist other property owners with squatters after she spent thousands of dollars to remove illegal residents from her own property. My goal is to drive state and federal laws to treat squatters as criminals and to expedite the review of fraudulent leases, Patty Peoples, 61, told Fox News. Earlier this year, Peoples and her business partner, Don Tiura, ejected two female squatters from their home after they moved in illegally for over a month and left thousands in damages. And yeah, it was a very, very bad, kind of worst case scenario when dealing with a squatter, right? The squatter scammed their way into the house, and it took over a month for them to get out. And they were so pissed that they got kicked out that they trashed the place afterwards. So, you know, as a landlord, we understand that sometimes we have bad tenants that tear our place up, but we don't expect people to break into our house, pretend like they live there, and fraudulently, steal your home from you, then trash it on top of that. That is a worst case scenario overall when dealing with these sort of people. The best case scenario is you call the police, they're able to remove those people immediately. Or I guess that would be the second best case. The best case would be they never even get access to the property in the first place. That would be the best case. But, I feel for this landlord. It could really honestly happen to any of us. If your home is empty for one day, in between tenants, somebody could just break in there and then pretend like they live there and you could be screwed over. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't blame the landlord for this situation, but I do blame our state laws and our local laws that do not protect landlords from this sort of thing happening. The website pushoutsquatters.org will launch later this week and will intentionally go to the abbreviation POS, piece of stuff. So many who responded to news articles use that abbreviation. So I went with the double entendres, said Peoples, who is a retired entrepreneur with experience in marketing. The website will be both informational and community oriented, she said. The purpose of the website will be to present the risks associated with squatting, the rise in frequency, and to offer resources for those attempting to get squatters out, including everything from security resources to legal resources on how to review state statutes, people said. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to keep these people out. Like unless you have an armed guard or somebody literally living in the property while while you're waiting to sell it or get a new tenant in there. There, if people want in there bad enough, they're going to find a way, and that's unfortunate. That's why you just have to be very, very careful. Alarm systems, cameras, checking on the property frequently. Yeah, you guys made a ton of great suggestions in my last video on this topic. So, if you have any further suggestions, go ahead and put them in the comment section. She added that other squatter victims will be able to share their stories on the website so others can learn from those experiences. People's plans to also sell hats and t-shirts with the website's logo featuring a stick figure kicking another stick figure out of a house. Honestly, I would love to buy that. Okay, if I might go on here after she starts offering these hats and get a hat and like put it in my videos because that's pretty funny. Honestly, she's pretty good at marketing. Okay, but yeah, she wants to share the stories of the other squatter victims, and it'd be great for me too because I would highlight it if I go to her website and I see a good story on there from a landlord who's become a victim of a squatter. I would gladly make a video about the topic because I want to get these stories out there. I want people to know that these sort of things are happening to people, that landlords can be victims of this sort of crime, and that we need to change legislation. Just like she says, we need to change legislation so that these people are treated as criminals and not as tenants. That's idiotic, okay?